How's it going, viewers? Mr. Incredi-Brony is back, and he's rolling with the punches, baby. Welcome to Incredi-Brony Reacts. We'll be checking out the Amazing Digital Circus Theory by Game Theory. Actually, I'm wrong, it's Film Theory. And if you're wondering why did I do that, was because in the theme song of Digital Circus, there is a moment where it does a loop of day after day after day after day. So I wanted to kind of do that. Sorry if I creeped you out, but hey, welcome to Incredi-Brony Reacts. We're going to be checking out a video titled The Digital Circus is Lying to You. So yeah, Matt has done one on Digital Circus. I reacted to the Murder Drones one. I really enjoyed it, so let's check out this one. I'm so intrigued because this show has so many crazy secrets to discover, and you know what? I'm here for it. 1, 2, 3. React.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that'll be theorizing day after day after day after day. We don't know
I just
why.
made that joke earlier.
The Amazing Digital Circus, shall we?
Matt and I are alike.
An incredible world of wonders where anything can happen except for swearing.
Oh my god.
If you aren't caught up with this one, this is the latest series from the creative geniuses over at Glitch Productions. This one was written, produced, and directed by Gooseworks, a talented artist who also composed music for both Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. And their creativity and experience really come through with this one. I gotta say, you guys went crazy recommending this one to us across comments, GT Live, and our subreddit. And it's pretty darn easy to see why. Between the amazing animation, gifable moments, and incredible cast of characters, and a storyline wrapped up in like 18 different layers of mystery, this is the perfect
In less than half an
show
hour.
for us to dive into. Which means that if you haven't watched the first full episode yet, go do it. Watch it after this theory. Though I'd be surprised if you hadn't, because this thing already has like 30 million views across the platform. It is doing mighty well.
It has nearly 200
Just
million
so
as we
we're all on the
speak.
same page for today's theory,
Which is
the
worth
pilot
it.
follows a woman named Pomni, who's thrust into a strange digital world styled after a
It was 25, so we're all good.
5 other humans. Jax, the lovable jerk, Ragatha, the sweet optimist, Gangle, who can't hide her emotions, Zubul, who's made out of a bunch of random objects, and Kinger, who's been trapped there the longest and has gone kind of crazy as a result. The whole circus
Probably
is
because he
run
lost
by
his
a
wife,
ringleader
you know, the
named
queen
Kane,
piece.
who according to the show's website is a, quote, wacky AI, and all of the humans are just subject to his every whim and desire.
Gadzooks, you're right, Jax. We should have a brand new adventure for our new member, Pomni.
I said that like 5 minutes ago. However, the humans don't necessarily want to go on these adventures, and they're constantly trying to find ways of getting out. This has even driven some of them insane, leaving them abstracted, where they devolve into monsters. Case in point, the clown Kaufmo was obsessed with finding the exit, and abstracts just before Pomni shows up.
Oh, Kaufmo's been obstructed. It's okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
And yet, even when
And you'd
Pomni
think
does
Kinger or even
exit,
Pomni would be
the pilot
first.
episode doesn't go anywhere. It's just endless hallways and office spaces repeating. It is basically the back rooms. As it turns out, Kane
And Stanley
made this
Parable.
big exit, hoping to give the humans what they wanted. He just didn't know what to put on the other side.
I do have to apologize for lying about the exit. I was having so much trouble figuring out what to put on the other side and ended up never quite finishing it.
And more or less, that's where we
Do y'all think Kane is evil?
the
I personally
Digital
trust
Circus
him.
after this first episode. Now, already there's just so much world building here for us to dig into. So many questions posed that we want the answers to. Like, who's behind the Amazing Digital Circus? Is there an actual way out, or are they just trapped forever?
Obviously the
Are
person who
characters
created the
like Kaufmo
headset that
really
Pomni
gone,
put
or will they
on.
be brought back in some way? And sorry to say, I don't have a whole lot of answers for those things. Not yet. For as much as Glitch and Gooseworks packed into the first episode, they've done the wise thing and not given us a whole lot of answers. But I do think they've given us plenty here to theorize about. So here are 3 Amazing Digital Circus theories.
3?
Don't run for the exit doors yet, my friends. We're going in. Let's start things off a bit small scale here. Theory number 1, everything in the show is literally a video game set in the late 1990s. Now, there's a lot in just this one episode that paints this as a video game world. For example, right at the beginning, we see a pixelated title card for the show.
Super Mario
that's obviously in
64.
the style of old school PC, PlayStation, and N64 games. This is further driven home in a secret video that you can find if you go to wackywatch.com, a URL shown on screen during the episode, which shows us the main menu for this game. We also see a flower pot fall to the ground and clip into it, kind of like an old school source engine glitch. Kane mentions that he created the digital world in the weird backrooms office area in a way that's very similar to how a game developer would create world spaces. Plus, when Pomni first enters the world, she says this.
I put on some weird headset and now I'm here.
Again, directly implying that the whole thing is a game. She put on a VR headset and was transported into the world of the digital circus. All of that checks out and should be pretty darn obvious to the
Here's my question for y'all watching this. How long would it take for you to actually survive in the digital circuit? I mean, before you go insane and abstracted. How long would it take for y'all? It would take me at least 2 years personally, because I would get used to it. I'm a big fan of colourful worlds, and hopefully I get to sleep in Ragatha's room, okay? Hopefully. But if she doesn't love me, then maybe I might go crazy within a month. But hey, it's all good. I've still got Pomni and Gangle, you know, we're all good. And don't worry, viewers, in my next day of recording, I will do the Smash or Pass videos on this and Murder Drone, so look forward to that. Anyway, let's continue.
Casual viewer. But what you might have missed is the fact that this is set in the late 1990s and not the present day, like you might expect from something talking about using VR headsets.
Oh, this is set in the
There's
90s?
a lot of circumstantial evidence that points us to this conclusion. First of all, basically all the tech that we see throughout the series seems to be pulling straight from the 90s. Anytime we see a computer in the show, it's always the white boxy styled CRT monitors and large white computer towers reminiscent
That Mama Imelda broke in
Coco,
the devil box.
And this is both in the actual episode and in the off-site material as well. In that same Wacky Watch commercial, we see a real-life computer with the same old-school design. What's more, the beginning of this Wacky Watch video says that this was an old tape recovered on a date that's censored. And given the degradation on that tape, it implies that not only is this video old, but it was also recovered in the past as well. But this goes beyond just the tech that's used in the series. Many of the characters and iconography from the show are very reminiscent of popular characters and ideas from the late 90s and early 2000s. Pomni's gesture design takes a lot of cues from Sega's old Nights in the Dream series. Jax shares design inspiration and a similar name with Max, the rabbit, from the Sam & Max games. Bubble clearly takes cues from Super Mario's Chain Chomps. Jax and Gangle were both inspired by characters like Poppy the Performer, an old Japanese 3D animated series, while Kane and the Digital Circus setups very reminiscent of the villain and plot of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, a short story by Harlan Ellison adapted into a point-and-click adventure game in 1995.
I have not seen any of these.
Slice it, it's very clear
except for the Mario
creators
one.
want the show to have the same 90s vibe that we're all so nostalgic for right now. But you might be thinking, hold on, they're talking about VR headsets here. That's a modern thing, right? Wouldn't this thing just be inspired by the 1990s rather than set in the 1990s? That's a pretty good call-out. A lot of advances in virtual reality technology have only been made across the last decade, especially when you're talking about gaming. That doesn't mean that VR technology didn't exist back in the 1990s. And I'm not just talking about the rudimentary black and red wireframes of the Virtual Boy either. Back in 1991, Sega announced the Sega VR. In 1993, Virtuality created the Mega Visor display. And in 1995, Fort Technology hit us with the VFX-1 headset, just to name a few. And
I've never heard of any of
footage
these.
of all these things, it doesn't look too dissimilar to the sort of world that we see in the amazing Digital Circus. Simple, flat textures, rudimentary shapes and polygons. There's not a lot of detail here, but that's for good reason. These headsets, they couldn't handle a lot of detail. True story, I actually have some first-hand experience with these rudimentary headsets. The Great Lakes Science Center in Cleveland, Ohio actually had a special exhibit on VR technology in its basement when I was a kid, and it blew my mind. With the amount of wires and cables these things took to run, it felt like you were jacking into the Matrix, and you had to wait 45 minutes to put on one of these headsets, but all of a sudden you were dropped into a video game. It was simple. I was walking through a purple field with a bunch of green triangular mountains in the background, but it was effective, and it captured my imagination for decades since. So much so that even though it was a 5-minute experience that happened in my life like 2 decades ago, I still remember it vividly to this very day. Anyway, MadPat Childhood stories aside, the long and short of all of this, everything that we see in the series is pointing to this taking place in the past and not in the present. All of this has already happened from our perspective. We're just watching the events of the game unfold. So now that we know that we're in a 1990s video game here, let's dig a bit deeper, shall we? Theory number 2, Pomni helped create this hell simulation that they're currently stuck in. It's a pretty bold claim, so what would make me say that? Well, a couple of things. Firstly, one of the scenes that really jumped out to me while I was watching and rewatching the pilot was the sequence where Pomni's running through the back rooms on the other side of the exit door. At one point, she enters a more traditional looking office space with computers and cubicles before stopping.
And she sees her set.
Desk in particular. This is played as a big moment. We linger on this shot for a long time as a classic horror-esque dolly zoom hits both the desk and Pomni before she has herself a psychological break. The lights start to flicker and she cackles uncomfortably before running on. The whole thing is really menacing and off-putting and clearly meant to leave us with a big impression. Why? Well, because this desk isn't just some simulation that Kane cooked up in the back rooms. It's based on a real place in the real world of this universe outside of the simulation. A place that we actually see in the episode. At the very end, right before the credits roll, we zoom out of the circus and through the void, revealing that all of this has been taking place inside of a computer. That makes sense. We've already established.
Yeah, someone told me this is actually Pomni's desktop.
Computer and the desk. It's the exact same setup that we saw earlier in the episode in the backroom section. The same old equipment on the left, the same file cabinets on the right, the same retro monitor and keyboard and computer tower and speakers, the same VR headset and headphones. This is exactly the same, but clearly this one's in the real world. Not only have we literally zoomed out of the computer, implying that that we're no longer in said simulation, but the lighting in the scene is much more natural. It's warmer. Sunlight is streaming through the nearby window, all at an angle because the sun's lower in the
My grandfather has a room that has that exact same curtain.
lighting that we've been seeing throughout the rest of the episode. That right there, the desk and computer setup existing both in the simulation and in the real world, is already a pretty interesting point, but why then would it break Pomni? What causes her to go off the deep end and start laughing? Well, I think that subconsciously, Pomni recognizes that this is her desk. At the beginning of the episode, they make it clear that Pomni has lost her human memories, but this, I believe, is triggering a deep realization inside of her. Based on what we're given here, I believe that Pomni's human persona is an employee at CNA, the company developing the digital circus game and VR headset, and seeing it here inside the game unlocks some weird flash of her memory as to what's happening to get her into this situation. She's trapped in the very game that she helped to create. It's ironic, hence why she laughs. It's funny. It's darkly funny. I can see this being a huge reveal down the line, and one that could be potentially devastating for all the rest of our characters. For Pomni, obviously, but also for all the other characters who are trapped in here who would be seeing her as the one to blame for their current imprisonment.
Dang.
So real quick, super short micro theory. I don't think we have enough information to figure out what the initials in the company name C and A stand for, but one possibility that did jump out to me, it could potentially stand for Cain and Abel, partially named after the AI ringleader of the simulation Cain, which could then lead itself to a lot of interesting story possibilities.
That theory does kind of make a little bit of sense because Pomni's name, you see, Pomni actually means remember in Russian. So it's almost like Cain the AI, which, by the way, AI is getting smarter now and they're going to outsmart us in the future, which is why humanity is, okay? Humanity is thanks to AI, all right? We are literally screwed. Okay, if you don't believe me, watch the film Joker and you'll understand, the Joaquin Phoenix one, and you'll understand why society has treated us like garbage and has ruined us, basically. But my point is, since Pomni means remember, it's like Cain is telling Pomni, remember that you are the reason we're all here, you know, because it's her headset. Maybe she was testing it and then she accidentally got herself stuck in there. Maybe that's it. Could that be right? Oh my god, I see it in so many different ways now. But that'd be devastating because she's been making friends now, you know. I love her relationship with Ragath. I don't want it to be a sad one now. But then again, what if Uzi discovers that N is the murderer of her? Oh my gosh. What if N is the reason Uzi's mother is dead? Oh my gosh, this is insane. Glitch Productions, yo, dark. I love it. This is, like I said, I'd rather watch this than something disappointing like Wish, you know. This is real peak storytelling, all right? In animation is my favorite art form for storytelling, and this right here is just peak, all right? I love it. Anyway, that theory is interesting. Just think about it.
You see, Cain and Abel are a pair of brothers who are the sons of Adam and Eve, with Cain ultimately killing his brother and creating the first ever murder in the world. Anyway, you know how we love ourselves a good biblical reference here, and I just wanted to mention it in case we get more clues in future episodes. But something we do have more than enough to say about, theory number 3, all the characters aren't actually humans trapped inside the digital circus. Instead, they're all digital copies of the brains of humans who've put on these headsets, cloned and then forced into the simulation. Now this is a pretty big swing. I mean, Pomni's first line of the series is practically, oh no, I'm a human who put on a headset and now I'm trapped here. And then Cain follows it up with this.
My, it appears a new human has entered this realm!
Human. He calls her a human. And that actually lines up with what we've seen with the official synopsis, explicitly calling Pomni and the others humans, in contrast to Cain being an AI. Quote from that synopsis, a woman gets trapped in a crazy virtual world along with 5 other humans and are now subject to the whims of wacky AI and their own personal traumas. Plus, I just personally like the image of a bunch of people strapped into these VR headsets a la Sword Art Online. But all of that being said, I believe that there's a lot of evidence pointing towards these characters being computerized clones rather than actual humans. For instance, as I mentioned above, Pomni starts going a bit crazy when she sees her desk from the real world in the circus's back rooms. But think, what was actually on that desk? A headset. Pretty clearly a headset that is not on any human's head. And that's not just a thing in the simulation, it's also on the desk in the real world too that we see in the final shot of the pilot. If there's a human trapped in the digital circus here with a headset firmly planted on their head that they can't get off, shouldn't they, you know, be stuck there with the headset on their head? Given the little that we have to go off of right now, it makes more sense that Pomni put on the headset, had her consciousness copied into the game, and then she just took off the headset to go home. Meanwhile, Pomni in the game can't take it off because she's not a flesh and blood human anymore. She's a digital copy whose memories begin the moment the headset was put on. And even if we're wrong, this desk isn't Pomni's, all the other characters went through this exact same process when they first joined, as Jax hinted at when he sarcastically said,
How do I take this headset off?
just
Keep grabbing at it. That worked for all of us.
They all tried the exact same thing, and it didn't work for any of them. They're all digital copies grasping at a VR headset that isn't there anymore. But you know the thing that really convinced me of this theory? The mannequins. Yeah, did you notice these guys? All throughout the episode,
Yeah.
we see several artist mannequins populating the circus. You know, these are the things that artists will sometimes buy to help them get references for poses. Most prominently, we see them in the restaurant with Kane and Bubble acting as background characters. But why would they matter? Well, we know that Kane can create NPCs.
Kane, is this one of your NPCs or is this a new sucker?
So maybe these mannequins are just random, nameless characters that Kane made up to fill in the circus. Maybe, but that just doesn't sit right with me. First off, the dolls are clearly capable of emotions. We see one get upset when Pomni interrupts it taking a bath, silently screaming at Pomni until she slams the door. There's
Creepy.
something more going on here than just these things being background extras. Take a look at this. When Ragatha is showing Pomni to her room, there are several other doors for other characters in the background. This is actually a great piece of world building. We see that each of the current characters have themselves their own rooms, as well as several other characters that we haven't met yet. There's this colorful one that I can't quite make out, what looks to be a pinkish purple goo monster, some sort of cute doggo, a green and orange anteater looking guy, a black queen chess piece that I'm gonna guess is named Queenie, seems to be Kinger's counterpart, implying that he didn't come into the simulation alone. Regardless, all of these portraits have giant red X's over them, and that checks out. These are likely characters that have abstracted in the past, just like Kaufmo did. We even see other abstracted creatures in the cellar when Kane banishes Kaufmo. Anyway, along with these past and current characters, we also see several doors with blank mannequins on them. Not just one, but multiple doors. If I had to guess what's going on here, when a new human enters the game, these rooms transform into one that's appropriate for them, and the mannequin on the door transforms into their character. And what's more, I believe that there's a mannequin in the game that also transforms into that character. Right now, they're placeholders, but they get molded into these human copies whenever someone new puts on the headset, and their brain gets scanned into the system. That would fit thematically with the idea of the mannequins to begin with. They're supposed to be used as references and then turned into something real when you're using them for your artwork. That would also fit with the fact that they're on the doors of all these empty rooms, and the characters being scanned clones of human brains would fit the fact that they can't take off their headsets, despite us seeing a headset not being worn at a desk that is clearly meant to be Pomni's. It just all fits with what we've seen from the series so far. In short, the series is gaslighting us. It isn't about a bunch of humans trapped in a simulation, it's about a bunch of human consciousnesses that have been scanned into an AI system and then mapped onto blank mannequin bodies, where the computer can then simulate
What
their
just happened there?
behavior and push their buttons to the breaking point, learning the weaknesses of the human psyche. And then, when they've had too much and abstract out of the system, well, then you just boot up another new simulation and try again. There is no exit door, just an endless loop of torturous tests run by Kane as he tries to understand the human
So
experience.
Kane could be
Just
evil?
like a real circus, all of it is just a big performance. But hey,
Maybe?
you know a character in the show that I think is criminally underrated? Bubbles! This adorable little bubble doggo seems like
Oh.
they're willing to eat just about anything, but I know for a fact that they would absolutely love the food from the
Oh, wait,
sponsor.
this is
of
an
today's
advertisement, isn't it?
episode.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay, that was actually kind of unexpected. The information I just heard there completely blew my mind. The second theory was very captivating, but then the third one was completely different. I assumed that when the human put on the headset, they were taken in and became that avatar. But like, I assume you created your avatar, then you become that avatar for realsies, like in other VR games that I've definitely played in the past. But no. They digitize yourself, and you as a human are still in your world. It's just another copy of you, and they just choose you to either be the jester or a ribbon with comedy and drama masks, or Raggedy Ann, or Boris the wolf from Bendy and Eat Machine, but purple. Yeah. I know for a fact my grandfather would be the chess piece Kinger, because chess is literally his favorite game of all time, so makes sense. It just they become your personality. What would I become? Would I literally become a DVD? That would make sense. I'd literally become a DVD case, even for like a random film. It would be cool if it was The Incredibles, actually. But what would you become, actually, if you went to the digital circus? I don't know which theory I believe the most. I mean, the third one just, I guess, makes the most sense. But I guess I do like the idea of Pomni actually being the creator of this place as well, which is why she freaked out and why her name means remember in Russian. But at the same time, yeah. Actually, speaking of mannequins, I look like one right now due to the lighting. I look like a mannequin right now. That's creepy. But you know what isn't creepy, viewers? The fact that this video is finally over. Woo! But hey, episode 2. I am excited. But yeah, I look forward to the future of Digital Circus and indie animation in general. And I'm sure there's other shows you want me to check out, and I will get into them, don't worry, in the future, okay? But viewers, if you enjoyed this particular video, leave a like on it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested. Follow me on Instagram, link down below. And until then, stay positive, keep calm, stay safe, be incredible. And as always, Brony off.